you see my
Okay.
screen?
Yes, I can watch the presentation. Strategies for for developing listening and speaking skills. All right. This is, oh my God. So, oh gosh. Okay. So you're really good at this. Okay. Very good. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is ANYELY Santiago. I'm 27 years old. As you, I am a student at UNAS in foreign languages. I'm a teacher too. I'm a teacher in an elementary school. So it's this is a topic that I love. So strategies for developing listening and speaking skills. Okay, so this presentation is um, it's a virtual this virtual learning object shows important aspect that a teacher should take into account when designing listening and speaking activities. Uses in both face-to-face and virtual environments. So I consider that is very important because English is not our mother tongue, and that can be a challenge when we want to design English activities for our students. And one reason is because we are in a Spanish speakers environment. So when we search something on internet, we find materials, but this kind of material majority of the time are in a different context. So that can be hard for us. That is because it's important to prepare a specific material for our students in this context in the real life application. So the objective for this presentation is to show the importance of listening and speaking activities in English as a foreign language learning, to present strategies for designing listening and speaking activities, and show tips to develop activities that can be used in face-to-face and virtual learning environments. So let's start with the listening materials. Listening as a receptive skill is considered the oral skill which is the primary ability developed in the first language acquisition. If you pay attention in the natural way to learn English, um, the natural process, or not English, but all the languages, Spanish, for example, uh, we first listen our parents or the people around us, and then we are going to repeat and learn how to speak. So that is because it's important to teach the students to develop their listening skills in order to speak better English. So effective listening materials should first incorporate bottom-up and top-down processing. What is that? Uh, is that the teacher can work with the previous knowledge of the students, and then uh, teach other things in order to complement what they already know. The second is provides exposures to different types of listening: intensive, selective, iterative, extensive, responsive, and autonomous. These tips have relation with that Marta said. We have to consider, or we should to consider the different um, learning styles in order to help our students. The third is be based on authentic recordings. That is, as I say before, we have um, to work with real life experiences. We can use a conversation or something that the student can use in the daily routines or in their daily life. Not only what we find in the internet or a video, something like that, but something that they can use. And the fourth is improve learning, listening comprehension, not testing it. That is very important because sometimes uh, when we make a material, we try to give a grade. Just we can test how good is our student in listening, but we should focus on the listening comprehension, the improving of the students, not just to give a grade or show how good oh, they they are, but in order to help them to improve. And the fifth is helps learning to understand real life language. I told that before. So tips to listening activities for face-to-face environments. First, the listening test that we use is brief. We have to use a fragment of a test or something that is easy to understand in order to help the students. The second tip is the listening test is supported by visual clues. It's better when we use pictures at the same time that we use the audio in order to help the students that learn by visual sources. As I said before, we have to help all the learning styles, not just one. And the third is the listening activity requires a response that, give me a moment. Sorry,
Don't
my
worry.
niece was talking. And the listening activity requires a response that indicates comprehension of the listening. Yeah, we have to pay attention in the responses because sometimes can be confusing. So the responses or the answers should be uh, clearly enough to the students. Um,
Okay, 1 minute more.
okay, so let's talk about speaking material. When design activities, we need to consider where our priority lies in terms of accuracy, fluency, and complexity at the specific phases of the planning activity and how learners can best be prepared for each phase. Or, yeah, this kind of material have to help the students to feel confident. This is a good example. This course for me was a good example. How can we feel confident? Because if you remember at the beginning of this course, I was really shy and now I can speak better. So this is the the objective of this kind of material, help the students to feel confident. This is an example of activities for speaking, drills, information gap activities, and discussion activities as surveys, ranking activities, debates, or something like that.
Okay,
So,
1 minute more for concluding.
okay, so for me, this kind of activity are really important in order to develop a good um, English learning process because listening and speaking have a big relation between one depend on the others. So as a teacher, we have to prepare activities that help students to develop that skills. So thank you for listening to me, and that was my presentation.
All right. Okay. So very good. Thank you very much. Okay, and with the reference too. Okay, very good. Okay, and you presented objectives here in your presentation. Okay, very good. All right, so this is a really interesting topic about the well, different strategies that we can apply for developing these two important skills. The presentation was really good, so it presented really good graphics for capture the attention, for capturing the attention, and of course, the presentation was really good. Okay, very good. So let's start here with the questions. All right, Jorge. Okay, so you can start in this case with your question. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Marta.
Angeli.
Um,
Angeli.
Angeli, excuse me.
Don't worry.
Angeli, okay. How important are authentic materials and how to note when it is an authentic material?
Well, as I said during my presentation, authentic material is related with the context because when you search on the internet, you can find a lot of material, a lot of information, but sometimes is descontextualized. That is a good word.
Discontextualize, yes.
Yeah, descontextualized because you can find, for example, a conversation about the I don't know
Nativos.
the yeah or the Christmas in United States. Yeah,
Mhm.
maybe the
Ah,
the the students don't can understand because it's different here in Colombia. So when you prepare authentic material is when you contextualize the material in order to help the student to have under a better understanding.
Understanding, yeah. Okay.
okay.
All right.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So good. Okay. So okay. All right. So let's continue then here with Liliana. Okay. So go ahead.
Okay, a question for you, Angeli. Do you listen to me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so a question for you. When you talk about that you develop listening and speaking abilities in your students, um, I would like to know what do you do in those cases where students don't have the extrinsic motivation for learning.
That's a good one question. And I try to find something that they like. For example, um, manga or comics or anime. I try to use what they like to do. So if they don't like to talk about, I don't know, politics, I try to use anime instead of politics because they will feel motivated. So that is a good tip to use in the classroom. And maybe they are going to talk in Spanish first, but then you can put a I don't know a episode of their favorite anime in English, and then you can talk about it. It's a good strategy for me.
Mhm.
Thank you, Angeli.
Okay. Very good. All right. So in this case, okay, good, good. Okay, so very good. Let's continue here with Catherine. Okay, Catherine, go ahead. You can ask your question to Angeli.
Okay, Angeli. My question is about the for many students,
Mhm.
including myself. um, it is very difficult to when it speaks English or listen to the song, for example. Um, which could be a tip or complement to improve in this part?
Well, I think desde from my experience. Yeah, I am talking from my experience because I learned Portuguese first. I learned Portuguese first, and when I was in Brazil, I didn't know anything about Portuguese and it was hard for me to speak. So I first had to listen the people talking and then I learned how to speak. That is because I say that during my presentation. So if you want to improve your speaking skills, you have to listen. In the beginning, it's hard because you don't understand anything, but then you have to, for example, if you are watching a movie, a movie you like it, you watch in Spanish first, then you put the in English and the subtitles in Spanish, the legend, and then the caption, sorry, and then you put the caption in English and you listen in English. So you the repeat, the practice. It's just that listening, and then you are going to speak better. That's what works for me. And yeah, that's my advice for you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. So now let's continue here with Diana. Okay, so Diana, so you can ask your question.
Okay, I am Angeli. What strategies could you use to improve the speaking ability of a student who has a visual learning style? Visual learning style.
Yeah, well, I use a lot of flashcards in my classes, for example, because if if they see or if they watch something, they can speak more about that. Because sometimes when we say, well, let's talk about fruits, for example, yeah, some people can imagine it better what kind of fruit. But if you show a picture, then the visual student can have a better idea of what you are talking about. So for me, the flashcards, it's a good uh, resource that you can use with children. I don't know with adults because my experience is with children now.
Okay, okay, very good. Okay, so this is my question, right? So I'm pretty sure that you have listened about different methods. For example, the direct method, the audiolingual one, for example, the communicative approach, and all these. Okay, so these involve, for example, the speaking and of course the listening a little bit more than the other skills. Okay, but anyway, it's going to be always a person or I don't know, a person, a really knowledgeable one about this topic who says, okay, so this is not the best method or this is not the best approach. Okay, so what do you think about?
Well, I'm not sure about if a person can learn English by right before than listening. I
Mhm.
I don't know, maybe it, I don't know because you can't read before know about uh, the meaning of the words or something like that. But yeah, can be a challenge. And now I have to think more about.
All right. Okay, okay, very good. So, I mean, Thank you very much for for that presentation. It was really good. I mean, you presented good slides, so the information was clear. The time was a little bit struggling there with the time because you took 8 minutes, 9 minutes, sorry, but not a big deal because you could finish the presentation. It is really hard to capture a grammar mistake or a pronunciation because you have a really good fluency. The only one that I could capture here in this case, or let me check here, I got it here. So it's the word experience,
Yeah,
experience.
experience.
That is the only one, because, but it's not a big deal. Okay. So I was here trying to paying attention. Okay. So in what moment she's going to make a mistake? But no, it's really difficult. Okay. So feel really good because you did a really good presentation. And well, here I'm going to stop the recording and I'm going to send yours for the email. Okay, so very good. So congratulations on that. Let me stop here. Okay, very good. Now, okay.